Good morning. We're going to do the extension for 8.1b right now. And the extension for 8.1b talks about the domain, the range, and the asymptote of exponential functions. Now, what an asymptote is it's a line that the graph gets closer and closer to. We saw those earlier. We looked at different functions, and we're going to see them again. And as we look at this graph actually gets closer and closer to zero. So the asymptote here would be, we'd say y equals 0 because it's a line that goes left to right. So y equals 0 would be our asymptote. Now we look at the domain and range of a graph like this. Remember, the domain are your x values. You could put any x value you want into this equation. So this is y equals 2 to the x. I could put any value I wanted for x. So for the domain, and that's for all exponential functions, your domain is going to be all reals. Because any one of these. And by the way, if you're looking on the extension packet, what I did, the first page has 2 examples, and then I also put a couple more examples, 1 and 2 on the back page. So if you want to look at that as we're going through these. But for every exponential function, the domain is going to be all reals. So I'm not going to talk about domain again, because once again, you put any value you want in for x for all of these. Okay, but the things that I want to focus on is what is the range and what is the asymptote. Okay, so here's the thing about the asymptote will match up with your range. And here's what I mean by that. This is the value it gets closer and closer to. And if I look at my range is going to be all the values from here and above. They never get to 0, but it's every value above 0. So when I look at this, I'll just say it's y is greater than 0. Now here's how it's connected. Notice that these are always going to be connected. Whatever you get for the asymptote, this value here will always be in your domain. And how you can get these values, you can look at the graph, but you can also look at whatever you add at the end. So if I add 0, it's 0. Let's look at this next example, and that might help us out. So now you'll see the asymptote here is at -4, and you'll see that this matches up with that. Oh, Mr. Ciccolini walked in. We're just doing a video, Mr. Ciccolini.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. So here's this next equation. I need to know 3 things about these equations: domain, range, and asymptote. The domain will be all reals. The range, now I look at what I'm adding at the end, and you'll see it's -4, meaning all the values above -4. And my asymptote will be whatever this value is. So here's my asymptote. It's a line, horizontal line, so I'll use the y equals -4. So those are the 3 things you're going to need to know for the 5.0 extension of the quiz. Right? Why don't you pause the video, try doing examples 1 and 2, and then when you're done, I'll go through the answers, and then you'll have a few more problems, 3 and 4 you can do on your own, checking the key. All right, so example 1 down here. Notice there's nothing added at the end. So this value at the end, we call that our k value, whatever we add in, is just 0. So domain, all reals. Range, it's going to be y is greater than 0 because we're adding 0. Asymptote, y equals 0. All right, and looking at example 2. We got some numbers in here, 0.5, 1.5. This stuff has nothing to do with domain, range, and asymptote. It's only the value we're adding at the end, and that's moving the graph up 2. So domain, all reals. Range, y is greater than 2. Asymptote, y equals 2. Right? So that's domain, range, and asymptote. Right? Tomorrow and Thursday, we're going to talk a little bit about transformations of this graph. Like here's this graph. I can move it up, down, left, or right. So that's something we're going to look at in the next couple days as well as extensions. So you should now be able to get those problems done, and you should be ready to go for that quiz.